Thanks for joining me on my craft podcast. I've actually got a lot of things to tell you about today. A lot of craft stuff and something really big personally, but I'm going to wait until the acquisition section to tell you about that. So I didn't think I had too much to share initially, but I've actually got a lot here with me. Lots of acquisitions, actually a lot of whips going on at the moment, and one 99% finished object that's lying over there blocking. So I'll show you a clip of that, but next time I'll show you the try on. That is my first finished object, or my only finished object, is my champagne cardigan. And it looks really, really beautiful. And I'm very happy with it. Okay, editing Zoe here. My hair's all wet, but I have got my finished jumper. The buttons are on. And this is what it looks like. It's all been blocked now. And I'm just wearing it over another net of mine. And it feels beautiful. Something I don't think I mentioned in the podcast, but meant to, is that I used the Isaga mohair, soft silk mohair maybe it's called, and it's got this beautiful halo. Don't know if you can see that, and I use Cascade 220 for the white base, and it is just the most beautiful mohair I've ever used. I don't think if I can avoid it, I'll probably, it's not that local, I don't see it all that often, but I think we're given the opportunity, and if the color's right, I'm just gonna get the Isaga mohair because it's just so beautiful, soft, lovely to work with. A bit of white fluff, or in this case white, but a little bit of the mohair hairs fluff comes off, but it's not a big deal. It's a very small amount, and it feels so nice, so nice. So this is my champagne cardigan. I really like the longer, sort of not cinched in wrists or the ribbing here, and yeah, this double knitted button band just gives me so much joy to look at. I really love it. So this is it closed, and then open. It looks like, ooh, this one is very short. I'm thinking about actually going back and lengthening it just a little bit. It was not supposed to be skin tight. I think my gauge was just really off. But this is the champagne cardigan, open, relaxed, and I'm really looking forward to wearing this into the office because it gets always so cold with the aircon. So I can't wait to be wearing this in summer because, yeah, like I said, I'll take it in, I won't wear it into the office when it's too hot, but in the office it might be a nice way to like deal with the aircon that they'll have on. And yeah, I'm very happy with it. At the moment it's got a bit of a line here just from the blocking mats because it dried that way, but I think it'll relax out, and I can't stop touching it. It feels so luxurious. It's definitely a combination I'd be interested in using again. I've still got a whole ball of each available, and still maybe a third or just less than a third of each ball. So the estimates from, I don't know if that is a me issue with my gauge measurement originally, or whether that is a pattern issue, but I certainly didn't need anywhere near as much as what was recommended, and I bought it specifically for that. Like I said, I'm not too upset about it because I really think this is such a beautiful fabric that I'll definitely be using this sort of stuff again, and I'd love to make something else out of this just same combination perhaps, or I know I can use the Cascade in another project and then mohair in a separate project again, so I might just keep them separate. A beanie in this would just be so luxurious, but I have a few other yarns for beanies, so that's not on the agenda anytime soon. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I've got a craft night, a women's craft night tonight, so I'm going over to actually my ex-boss's house, and we're going to craft and chat with her friends, and some of my friends. And yeah, it'll be really fun, and I'll get to wear 2 things that I've made and work on something else. Actually, I'm going to edit this in as well to the next bit, so we'll skip through to my next whip when this comes up, and then I will edit this bit in. It was a really cool process. I learned some new skills. It knit up beautifully, and something that I really loved doing was the double knitted button band. Kind of made me feel like I was doing some knitting magic, just the way that it was connecting, and you go across and you're just knitting. So you knit back and forth across a certain number of stitches, but you're knitting one, slipping one. So it's knit one, slip one, knit one, and then you do the opposite in the reverse, and it makes a yeah, 2-sided fabric. And I just think that that's so cool, that you're knitting along one row and you're making 2 sides of a fabric within the 2 rows. So that was actually really cool. It took a very long time, but I'm kind of excited to cast on another project with a double knitted button band, because it was so interesting the way it all came together. And I enjoyed making the buttonholes at the same time. So went to a button shop yesterday and met this really lovely lady. She helped me pick out the buttons, and we had a nice chat. It's called the Button Shop in Malvern, if you're in Victoria, in Australia. But I'd really recommend going to see her. It was a lovely little store. There was yarn there also, which we'll get to that with the acquisitions. But I did pick up some buttons. I took my knitted swatch, which I'm not sure where it is at the moment, and I had some buttons at home, so I figured out the size button that I'd need and put it on the cardigan to see what it looked like, and then chose the size button, and then took that button to the store to sort of measure against the buttons that I liked and was interested in. And I ended up choosing these ones here. They're nice and pearly. I hope you can see that. Maybe I'll hide my face. There we go. So they're nice and shimmery pearly, and in this kind of clover motif. And something funny that she said was she got them into the store because they reminded her of the jewelry brand with the bracelet and the necklace. And I said, yes, the Van Cleef. I was like, that's why I like them too. They're very pretty. So I've got 4 of these, and they are my Van Cleef buttons, and they look really pretty on my white fabric. I also picked up these ones just in case they didn't work, also again, nice white pearly. These also have a bit of a texture, like they're not flat, they kind of move up and down. And I thought, well, I'll get 6 of these, and if I don't use it on this cardigan, I can use it for another cardigan in the future, or since I also sew, it can be on one of my sewing projects. And I'm planning to, I'll get back to that later as well. So, yep, these are my buttons. I can't wait to put them on and finally wear it. It is taking a very long time to block. It is winter here, so most of the time it's very cold, even though we should be heading into our springtime. And yeah, so I've got the heater coming up from up there onto the cardigan, and it's still taking a very long time to block. But that is my first thing. I don't know if there's anything more that I had written down. I'll just check if I wanted to say something about it. Okay, so maybe a reflection or two from this process is I want more cardigans. So as the weather warms but still has those cold days, I kind of want a cardigan, especially because in an office environment, I'm not there all the time, but I work on sites and stuff, I like to have a cardigan on because the aircon's always really cold. So I think I'll actually get a lot of wear out of this, and looking forward to making more. And something also that I reflected on was, as I got to the double knitted button band, I was putting it off for a week, 2 weeks, because I was like, oh, new technique, I don't have the mental capacity to deal with this right now. So I kind of just put it off, and it made me reflect on my 2 other projects I have going, as some socks, and I was starting to do some swatches for some new projects, but again, it was all new, and they're a little bit more involved than just a stocking net to pick up sometimes. And so I've realized that actually what I want is just a nice simple project that I can always go to in between learning and learning new skills and picking up different skills. So I think I needed to start my whips a little bit before finishing off or getting to the difficult bits of this cardigan. I was just really powering through and wanting to finish the cardigan, but I think it'll be good to have multiple whips happening at a time, which I do now, but I think what I've learned is I want a few more simple ones where I don't have to think about anything. I can just switch off and just do some stocking net in the round ideally. So that is just a reflection that I had from that one. So I might go into my next project as the socks, not the most exciting one, the most exciting ones are coming up, but basically I didn't do anything since the last time I updated you about this. It's still very messy inside. I've just turned it inside out, and now I'm starting the second sock because I'm going to Iron Maiden tonight, which I'm really excited for. So I'm going to be knitting at Baby a Metal concert while I wait for the bands to come on, because I asked friends if they'd like to come with me and no one was like, at least months ago when I was booking it, they wouldn't commit, and no one that I asked was really into the idea of going to this metal band. So I'm going alone, that's fine. I'll have a seat and do some knitting while I wait for the bands to come on. So yeah, it's kind of like when your hobby doesn't match your music interests, but that's all right. So I've got this, but it is a little bit more involved just because it's, you know, you're switching out colors so often, you're thinking about the colors. It's not just simple and just a nice, easy, brainless, small project that's very transportable. So, because I was kind of thinking about socks recently, it's like, why would I make all that effort to knit socks? And I saw all these people knit socks on their craft podcasts or knitting podcasts as well, and they're really nice. They're the simple ones that have like the pretty yarn, but I was like, oh, why would I knit socks if they're not going to be extraordinary and have this pattern and have that involved? And now I've realized that actually I kind of just want a nice simple project that is just letting the yarn shine and not getting too involved, and just doing a simple like stocking net sock. I think this one that I've done before, the first one that I did, which again I added more to it, but it was the Perfect Socks or something. I'll put the name up here. That's by Summer Lee Designs. It's a fantastic pattern, and I've got some acquisitions that are specifically going to meet that need to just do some plain socks with pretty colors, and then I'll be more inclined to wear them as well in boots, I think. So I kind of, with my socks that I've made already, they've all got these little extra interesting things about them, and I'm a bit nervous to wear them in boots because I put so much effort into the design and all that sort of stuff. So I would like to have some simple ones that let's wear those in my boots. I'll wear them to work and have some nice hand-knitted socks. So now I see the point of just those simple, like vanilla, plain sock patterns. So that's a thought that I had. My most recent one that I cast on, just because I'm most excited about it, I'll tell you this one next, is the, what's it called? The Nordstrand. It's a free pattern, which is really great. It's a free colourwork jumper pattern. And I've started the colourwork. So this is my low contrast jumper. There is some short rows in the back of this. I don't know if you can see there, and it's a little puckered at the moment because of the increases, but I think it'll block out beautifully. So I've got some short rows in the back, and this is what the front is looking like. And it's got a turtleneck, and it's got this really nice but simple motif. I find that after the first 6 to 8 stitches in each of the lines, I can memorize the pattern. It's very easy, and you just keep going. So I've been really enjoying this. I only cast this on maybe a week ago, and I've just been really into it in the last couple of days. So I've knitted a lot on it, and I'm very happy with how it's looking. I love the light pinky purple with the deeper purple. I think it's going to be really lovely, and it's not too high contrast. I mean, I'm not afraid of high contrast, as you can see. This is one of my favorite jumpers. It is my favorite jumper, and I didn't make it, but I've got this skirt that I made. And it's a pattern by Gracie Steele, who's a wonderful sewist. She has a YouTube channel, she has an amazing Instagram, she's very inspiring, and she did a pattern called the Foxy Boxies, which is the best shorts pattern I've ever seen and ever used for like a nice elasticated, easy going short. I've made the pair of the shorts as well. But for this one, I just used a rectangle and did the same thing that she did in the top band of the shorts for this skirt, and there was no waist. It's a beautiful silk fabric from my favorite fabric store in Queensland. It is called Selective Fine Fabrics, and they have just the most gorgeous silks and linens and just really high quality special fabrics. The lady that owns the store, I'm pretty sure, travels to Europe, to France, to find really nice fabrics to bring back into her store on a yearly basis. But anyway, I'm not sure if there's much more to say about this, except that I'm really excited and want to get it finished as soon as possible before our weather starts to really warm up. So that is my major whip at the moment that I'm working pretty hard on. Okay, so yeah, I'm having to crouch down a little bit because it's just a bit awkward height here, but I'm really loving how this is coming out. This is my Nordstrand pullover, and I think it looks really lovely. The low contrast color work is really beautiful. However, the other night I took this to a concert because I went alone. It is a metal concert, and I was like, oh, well, I may as well make the time productive. So of course I took my knitting. I'll share a video of that here. But I think I actually must have gotten distracted because I was around here somewhere, and then I started to, I continued on the color work, but basically around, I think exactly that point there, I somehow switched the colors in my head from reading the chart, and I've done the opposite. So I've got to go all the way back to here and redo this part of the color work. I was thinking, oh, could I leave it? And realistically, no. I think it'll just, especially when it ends on like that solid color, it'll look really strange compared to the pattern, which looks lovely. So I'm going to do at the craft knitting night tonight. It's not knitting, it's anyone's doing everything, like whatever they want. Some people use coloring books, which is nice and fun and relaxing, but I'm gonna work on my knitting again. I'm gonna put in a lifeline at this point and then rip it all back and start that part of the color work chart again. So yeah, that was a fail to do it at the metal concert. And then I continued on, I think, getting confused by that. So the work that I've done over the last couple nights is not useful. So I'm going to go back and redo that bit. But yeah, that's how this one's looking. Update. Something that I was working pretty hard on before this one was the Shift Cowl by Andrea Mowry. And I have these beautiful yarns, like this one, I showed this last time, and this beautiful sage green, and then the grey, which obviously is used up a bit more at the moment with how I've made it. And I really don't like it. I'm gonna frog it all. I like the pattern, I'm enjoying the pattern. For me, it wasn't too mindless at the start, but I got the hang of it eventually. But basically, I love this color, and the grey is also really nice, but the green is just not, it's such a beautiful color, but it's just not getting, there's no justice for it. in this pattern. So it's not working up, like it's kind of muted here. It doesn't look that nice, and here. And then when you start to contrast it with the color, it just looks very bland. So I'm actually going to frog all of this and go shopping for some different yarns again to match with this one. Maybe I stick with the grey, or maybe I also use the grey for something else. But I got all the way through this and I wasn't feeling it too much. I was liking the pattern, but it was only when I really switched to this green that I'm like, no, this isn't working. It's not giving me what I want. So no cowl for me this winter. I'm gonna frog it all and start again eventually, probably next year though, until I get around to this again, which is a shame. But if you're not loving a project and not feeling inspired by it, it's probably best to just stop there and know that you can use that yarn for a different purpose or the same purpose, and just get some different yarn to complement it more. So that was a little bit disappointing, but yeah, that's my overall thoughts on this one. It's going to all come out, and I was literally just keeping it on the needles just to show you how it's worked up and why it wasn't inspiring me. Then I started a swatch for the Helia sweater, which I'm really excited about. I think it's by Joanna Ang. I'll have to look up her name, but it's a really beautiful pattern, and I did my first swatch, which looks gorgeous between these two yarns here. I've talked about them before in a previous video, and one is the Knitting for Olive Merino, I want to say, and this is a special yarn that I got in Venice. But I'm going to, yeah, basically my gauge is off, and I need to use some bigger needles. So I think I did this on 4.5mm needles. I'm going to go up to 5mm needles, which I don't mind either, because it'll be even more drapey then, which is kind of what I envisioned for this this jumper, is to be quite drapey and have the arms like sort of move around. So going to swatch for that one again. What else? There is another, I've started again doing some ceramics. So I've made some buttons. This is the big size that I made, and then this one is the smaller size that I made. And so I've got a few here of each size. I'll take a photo of all the ones that I've made, but I don't know, just got inspired, wanted to make some buttons. Very simple ceramic project, but I had my girls' crafts night, and because I was a ceramic teacher throughout uni at one point, I was teaching them all how to use the clay and how to work it, how to make sure that there's no air bubbles so your project doesn't explode in the kiln. Yeah, so I started doing some ceramics again, and I'm really inspired to make some more. And just to start was the buttons while I was teaching them all and that sort of stuff. So we'll have more craft nights where I get the girls to, they really enjoyed the ceramics. So there was 4 of us last time, which was a good thing, because I think if there had been more, I would have been full-time teaching rather than just giving the occasional advice here and there and showing little bits. So it was good to not have too many people all at once, but I think hopefully next time I'll have even more girls again. Sort of ranges between that 4 and 10. But if you don't, if you're interested, I'd recommend doing something like this with your friends. Basically, you just go, I call it my arts, crafts, wine and cheese night. So you bring an art or craft, or you can organize like I've done to do all the same thing. But otherwise you just bring a craft that you might be interested in doing, especially if you've got crafty friends. But most of them aren't crafty, but they've really enjoyed these nights, and we've got some wine, we've got some little bits of food, everyone brings a little bit, and we have a really nice time chatting and doing some crafts. So you don't get through like a ton necessarily, because you're chatting and, you know, focusing on the social stuff as well, but it's so much fun. I love them. And without further ado then, I'll tell you the big news, because I have bought my first house, well, apartment. So I've just bought an apartment and it's been taking up a lot of mental energy recently. But yeah, I've never had anything that's been like my own space, because we've always been renting for as long as I can remember. I mean, we did have one house when I was young, but my parents split, and anyway. We've been renting for most of my childhood and all of my adult life. And it would be really exciting to finally have a space that I can make my own, if I want a nail in the wall to hang some artwork, I can do that. I have so many plans. I might make some videos based on that, but one video that I'm gonna make I'm gonna take you along the process of doing some reupholstery. Because I've always been interested to do some reupholstery, but now that I have my own place, I'm going shopping, fabric shopping a little bit after, with one of the ladies from my crafts night that's super into fabric as well, and we're just gonna have a ball looking at all the fabrics that I can make and put on this. I'll take a video of the little chair and put it into this video, and that's my first project. It's very old, sort of antique-y chair, but it's actually very comfortable. It doesn't look super comfortable, but it is, even though it's quite low, which is a good thing. I think it'll make a really nice like ottoman as well to put your feet up on. But yeah, that'll be my first upholstery project. And I've also got another chair that I'd like to reupholster. So if I do well with this one, then I can try on the next one as well. But I also want some fabrics for some pillows, and I want to do some big curtains in my bedroom. I'll take a video of the house at some point, but I think I'll make a video about sort of the inspiration for how I want to, or like building up my space. I've got a few ideas of how I want to share that process, because I'm really excited about it. If no one sees it, that's fine, but I'm super excited to share the process of like how I'm going to make this space my own. So that's my major acquisition. And I just got the keys yesterday. They're here somewhere. I've already lost them. No. So I got my new house keys yesterday. Settlement went through, and I thought it was going to be a bigger process. I took the day off yesterday and today, thinking that I would do some more house stuff, but also I didn't really know the process, and I asked my manager if I can take this day off, and yesterday and today, thinking that I might be needed to be at settlement, and I thought, oh great, I'll just take the whole day off. Little did I know, you're not involved in the process at all. Your conveyancer calls you up, yep, settlement went through, you can go pick up the keys when your real estate agent calls you. Real estate agent called me, you can come pick up the keys when you're ready. And that's it. Like, nothing else. So I haven't been in the place yet. I'm kind of waiting to go on this weekend. The weather's pretty miserable, and it has been terrible in Melbourne for the last couple days. It's been like, I think I read somewhere it's equivalent to a cyclone category 3 or something or other. The winds have been crazy, which has been the worst part, and there's been some, bad things that have happened, which is not good, but it was just a really bad weather spell. So I was going to pick up a couch yesterday from a lady that was generous enough to give me her couch for free, but it was raining so much we thought, so I'm going to go pick it up in the morning and get it out of her way and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's been shocking weather here, so I've actually just been decompressing. I think I needed to catch up on some sleep. I've enjoyed some knitting time, hence the progress on this jumper. And I also went to that button shop, as I said, and got some yarn as well. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, I got this yarn first. It is, I can't describe the softness level. I think it's got a beautiful name too. It's Abalone, yeah, Abalone. It is 75% Australian fine merino and 25% silk. It's 100 grams and there's 800 meters in the skein. So it's just, I mean, I don't know, can you see this? I hope the color is coming up, but it's like this pearly, rich pink. It's just gorgeous. It really is like a very shell rich, interesting color. And I was thinking I'd just get one. I really want to make the pie camisole. So that's what I have destined for this one. I was thinking, oh, will one be enough? It's 800 grams. What if I held it double? I mean, that wouldn't be enough, but I was thinking maybe if I don't mind, I'll see what it knits up like just by itself. And then I thought, no point in risking it. It is such a beautiful yarn. I'll get two and maybe I'll combine them together to make the pie camisole, and whatever is left over, and maybe I make a nice beanie or something. It's so beautiful. I mean, merino and silk, it's just gorgeous. I think it will pill a little bit because it's got some fluffy bits there, but that's okay. I just can't wait to wear this. It's just gorgeous. So I got this a couple weeks ago, and then yesterday after settlement, I'd gotten the news for settlement, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna celebrate with some yarn. So like I was saying, I want some plainer sock projects that are just stocking knit, simple plain socks. So I got some fun yarn. This is from Chaska sock yarn, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. This is from Chaska alpaca yarn sky collection, and there's 400 meters per 100 grams, and I got two different ones. So we've got this deeper sort of kind of circusy. I don't know if that reminds you of circus, but it kind of reminds me of a circus. And it's probably a bit richer than what it's coming out on camera. And this one is just a nice variegated pink yarn. I was thinking there's these like little socks with sheep on them. I'll share my sock inspiration photos as I'm talking about these sock yarns. These ones are just plain, but I've got some other ones, and but I think this will be maybe too variegated and take away from the pretty sheep so it might just come out as plain, and I don't have any more plain sock yarn to make up into some socks. I've got one sock yarn that I've been planning to, I finished the toe and decided no, it's going to be too big, so I'm going to rip back and start on with smaller, less stitches, the smaller size for that yarn. And I'm making a nice yucca sock, but it's very detailed, and I'm realizing that I just want a simple project, even if it's small and it's just stocking net in the round, because the Helia, for example, it is stocking net on the body, but on the sleeves it's really detailed. Once I get past the color work, that's going to be stocking net, but I do want some nice simple socks to put on my needles. So that's those ones. And then I picked up these two as well. These are Mistal Baby 100% virgin wool. They're just really, oh, this pastel is so nice. And I have a plan for it. So these aren't sock yarns, but I'm thinking if I combine it with a white sock yarn and then use these as the color contrast, put up some examples of some socks that I'm interested in for these two. This one particularly for this snowflakey one you might see on the screen. And there are free patterns as well, the ones that I'm putting up, I believe. I've been going through some free patterns recently just to get a bit of ideas for free patterns. Like this Nordstrand one is so great, and it's free also. Here you can see my color work inside. But yeah, I don't know, I'm excited about these. It'll be an experiment to see if it works well. I'll try it on one sock and wear it for a little bit. These would be socks then that they wouldn't go through too much strenuous activity. There'd probably be more home socks to keep them really nice, since it's not sock yarn that I'm using. And they're very soft and gorgeous, and I think would get damaged if I used it in the regular sock way. So they'll probably be home socks in slippers and just really pretty projects. So that's for those two. And my last yarn acquisition is this one. I've wanted to try the opal sock yarn for a little bit. 100 gram skein, and then this one's a 50 gram skein of black Patternile merino from Patterns, 80% merino wool, 20% nylon, just a black sock yarn, because I plan to make these movie socks for a special friend of mine, and I want to make him, yeah, these socks, because he's really into movies, and I think that that would be a really nice idea for him. He's just so generous to other people, and yeah, he's just a wonderful person and gives his time and his efforts and everything of himself so freely to people that he cares about in his life, that I'd like to give something back to him, to just appreciate him for being such a wonderful person to all of his friends. So I think he deserves to have something nice done for him. So this is going to be his little surprise gift. Yeah, the little movie socks. That is the last of my acquisitions. I'm going to think through if I have had any other reflections. I know I did at some point. For this sweater, I forgot to say, this is my first time doing an Italian cast on, and it was a little bit confusing. I watched one video and it didn't make too much sense to me, and then I watched another video, which I'll link below, that I think explained it really well. So maybe I'll chop this and put this back into this section. So, yep, hello again, later Zoe, realizing she forgot something, but it's so neat. Look at that. Look at the top of that, it's so neat. I really like this. I'm gonna keep doing Italian cast-ons whenever I've got a 1x1 especially. That was, yeah, I'm really happy with how that's come out. So it is a little bit more of a process. What do? You kind of knit back and forth, or like around, is it back and forth? The video will be linked below, I've already forgotten. But it is a little bit more of a setup process, a little bit more effort, but it's so nice. I think the effort's worth it. When you're spending so much effort to make an entire jumper, why not spend an extra half an hour, you know, or hour, however long it takes to make a really nice cast on as well, because it's those finishing or starting touches that can really elevate, I think, a knit. And so, yeah. That is a recommendation, Italian cast on. I mean, I think a lot of people have done it. I just hadn't done it before, and it was a really exciting new technique. This couple weeks has been a lot of new techniques for me. Mosaic was new. Yeah, so that was a good one. What else? There was one other reflection that I had. No, that's about that's about it. In terms of what I've been listening to recently, I've been listening to a book while I've been knitting on public transport. It's called The Friday Night Knitting Club, and it's just a nice simple fiction. It's very predictable, but it's really good. It's heartwarming. They talk about knits and pearls, and you know, but at the same time, so it's about a lady that runs a knitting store in New York City, and she has a young daughter, and it's kind of their story, but it links in all the other ladies that come there, their stories as well, and it's just really good. I'm really enjoying it. I'm usually reading like non-fiction history or politics or something like that, and so actually it's been really nice to throw in this simple, nice, heartwarming, yeah, relaxing book for some of my knitting. So that's been really good. One more reflection I had was, I have this 4.5mm knitting needle. You can see I've put sticky tape just to keep it on to the ends there. It was a really cheap knitting needle, bamboo with this plasticky, it's not that nice to use, with a plastic tubing. basically thinking if you're just starting out or you're thinking, oh, just get this one cheap thing, I wouldn't recommend it, especially if it's a normal size that you can use often. 4.5mm is quite common, because you're just gonna break and then you're gonna have to buy again anyway. So I think when it comes to knitting needles, just investing a little bit more, at least to get something sturdier than the cheapest option, is probably the best thing in the long run. So that was a little bit disappointing to have this come off. It's not like I'd used it an awful lot either. This was what I was using on my champagne cardigan, and I don't think I'd used it an awful lot before that champagne cardigan. And it didn't even make it, I think, a third of the way, or maybe it made it a third of the way through the cardigan. So that was, yeah, invest in some knitting needles. Other than that, I don't know, I don't have too much more to tell you. Thank you for listening to me. I'd really appreciate if you like, subscribe, or comment. Tell me what you thought of this video. I really love reading any of the comments that come through. They're really nice to chat with people. And yeah, so have a good week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.